So to talk about this further, we've been joined by Celebrity Chef Matt Tebbutt. Matt, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about the ingredients for our Christmas dinners, and according to new research, we've discovered how far these ingredients actually travel around the world before getting to our plate, haven't we?
Yeah. So you look at the traditional Christmas dinner. So turkey. Okay, turkeys are fine. We produce some great turkeys in this country. Cranberries, however, the traditional sort of side by side ingredient, has to travel around the globe. I mean, largely comes from North America. So when you look at sort of eco credentials and air miles and things like that, suddenly these sort of more traditional Christmas helpings, they don't really kind of figure. So I've been working with the UK and Ireland mushroom producers to look for a more kind of sustainable Christmas, really, because we grow mushrooms very well in this country. We grow them all year round. They're delicious. If you want to go plant-based, they're perfect because they've got a great meaty texture, full of that kind of really savory umami flavor. So we should be looking at things like that, really, rather than things that are flown in all over the globe. Like, so many things are soya based, for example. So a traditional nut roast that a lot of people will go for, I think it travels, if you tot it all up, it travels over 10,000 miles because
Wow.
we don't grow nuts in this country. We don't have the climate. So although people go, yes, okay, let's cut out the meat because we're doing the environment a disservice not to, then you've got to look at the point of origin of where you're getting stuff. Otherwise, you're just kind of kidding yourself.
So you reckon we should be mindful of the food that we're eating then?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, seasonal and local have always been buzzwords for the last sort of 20 years or so. And it means much more than ever, I believe now, because if you're buying seasonally and locally, you're going to get it at its very best. You're going to get it at a very good price because you're not paying for it to be air freighted around the globe. And it really is the only way to go, I think. So although we're wrapped up in tradition at Christmas, maybe we should be thinking just outside that box just a little bit.
Well, since I've got you on the show, can you share any top tips or hacks for Christmas dinner with us?
Christmas hacks. I mean, yes, I'd like to say you do things up in advance, which I very rarely do. I leave it to the last minute, and then it's a bit of a scramble when you've had a few beers. Um, so, I mean, you could I've done some recipes which are on the mushroommiles.com website. If people want to look at sort of more plant-based things, there's mushroom Benedict's there. There's a delicious looking mushroom Wellington rather than a traditional beef Wellington. There's little sort of canapes there using Stilton and mushrooms. Yeah, I mean, really, my main tip for Christmas is to invite nice people over who aren't going to complain when you're a bit late with the food, really.
So yeah, the juggling thing can be difficult in the kitchen with all the pots and pans piling up. It can be a little bit overwhelming, can't it?
It absolutely is, and there's usually, if it's anything like my Christmas, you're in the kitchen running around like a headless chicken, shall we say? That's topical, isn't it? Running around like a headless chicken, and then people want to stand and talk to you. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to talk to you. Get out of my kitchen. Let me do some food, and then I can relax and talk to you. Otherwise, you're just going to hold me up. And then people say, "Well, can I help?" And you go, "Well, yes, you can help by just going away, really. And maybe you want to help later with the washing up rather than watching Strictly Come Dancing."
Now, in your opinion, what would you say is the best time to serve the Christmas dinner at?
Well, I'd go about between sort of 4 and 6 in the afternoon, really, because obviously you get the presents, which is the main part of Christmas that everyone knows. So you get presents out of the way, have a bit of a kind of a brunch affair. Start having a couple of drinks, pop a cork or two, because obviously it's Christmas. It's like going on holiday. There's no kind of real timings. It's like being in an airport at 7 in the morning and the Weatherspoons is open. Um, so yeah, crack open a glass then, and that kind of sees you through the day, and then just spend a good few hours, pottering around the kitchen with an open bottle and some music on. It's great.
Now, this year for breakfast on Christmas morning, I would like to do something a little bit different. Are there any suggestions that you can give us?
Obviously, my mushroom Benedict.
Sounds good.
So
Sounds
yeah,
good.
just some nice sautéed local mushrooms. Um, and what else do I make in it? I make a nice brown butter béarnaise. So rather than a traditional kind of hollandaise, you put some tarragon in there and I brown the butter, so it goes a nice kind of nutty tasting, nice dark butter. And then I make the hollandaise or make the béarnaise with that. It's delicious. It's super rich, but really, really satisfying. I'd go with that.
Now, what about Christmas dessert then? Are you a big fan of the Christmas pudding?
No, I'm not. I think again we're sort of steeped in tradition, and after eating one of the heaviest meals of your life, you then reach for Christmas pudding, which is just a pure stodge. I mean, it can be delicious, obviously, but not necessarily after a massive turkey or whatever you're having dinner. So Christmas desserts, I mean, I would leave it a couple of hours. I'd have some cheese first, and then maybe Christmas pudding. But the best thing about Christmas pudding is frying it in butter.
Yes, exactly. I'm ready for it now.
I mean, a big old steamed pile of fruits is like, okay, nice. I mean, it's all about the brandy cream for me, but if you fry it till it's nice and crispy, serve it with a just maybe a splash of dark rum or some really good ice cream. Instead, I mean, that's much tastier.
Now, what about Boxing Day? Do you look forward to playing with all the leftovers to see what you can come up with?
I do actually. I like that's one of the sort of the more fun sort of elements of Christmas. I love a sort of coronation dressing. So any leftover turkey will be tossed in some mayonnaise and a nice sort of spicy curry dressing. I'd always sort of roast a piece of pork, maybe nice, good amount of crackling, decent amount of fat, some nice spare ribs, things like that. Really, get some good bread, some good cheese. You could do a nice little raw. There's a nice little raw mushroom salad I'd get with a nice sort of French dressing. Just chop mushrooms, throw them on a plate, bit of seasoning, bit of oil, bit of French dressing, handful of spring onions, delicious, and also quite refreshing. So stuff like that, really, kind of more of those picky things, help yourself affairs.
So tell us about the website then. Give us the details where we can get the recipes for all those mushroom dishes then.
You can see them at mushroommiles.com for all the information.
I shall get on to it. Now, looking ahead to next year, any projects in the pipeline that we should know about?
Well, I am doing a vegetable show, coincidentally, with all about veg. V is for Veg, it's called, on Channel 5. That's going out beginning of January. And that's been interesting. So learning a lot about all sorts of aspects of vegetarian food and some vegan food. Some of it's surprising, some of it's delicious, some of it's not. Saturday Kitchen rolls on, thankfully. Love that. That's best day of the week. Better than any Saturday job I had as a kid. And obviously, I've just brought out a book, so I'll be turning up at festivals and what have you nearby, shouting about my book.
And yeah, you have to come to see us here in Belfast at some stage.
I'd love to. I've had many trips to Belfast. There's some great festivals there. Really, really good fun, and even the weather, can be nice. Yeah. I got locked in a pub in Belfast once when Rory McIlroy won the Open, I think it was, or whatever. And yeah, we were there for many hours in the backwaters of Belfast. So we had a great time.
Excellent. And of course, we've got some really good restaurants here, and we're winning lots of Michelin stars as well here in Belfast.
You absolutely are. You've got some cracking restaurants, Ray. Yeah. No, I'll need to get back over.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Good to talk to you, Matt.
Pleasure. Thanks for your time this morning.